Hello to all of you out there in this great big world of social media. Yes, this is your brother Dana coming to you from the city of Chicago. Shalom to all of the beautiful, precious, chosen children of the Most High Yah. You who are the true seed of Jacob, that even now the Most High Yah is fulfilling his promise that you would not be the tail, but that you would be the head. And now you, his offspring, are going to be placed in the rightful position of the Most High Yah's promise. And I know there's individuals out there that might be wondering exactly who I am talking about. I am talking about our black brothers and sisters, formerly also known as our African American brothers and sisters. Their true identity, your true identity, is that you are the people of the book. You are the true Hebrews, God's true chosen people. Now, Christianity will not reveal this to you, but the Spirit of the Ruach, the Holy Spirit, and the Most High Yah, and some natural research will reveal to you this truth. Depth of wickedness. And so today's video, as basically all my videos, I hope are used to expose the lies and the evil and the wickedness that lies within our white evangelical communities, the evangelical Christian church and the theology of that religion. And today, the couple stories that I want to share are for that purpose, to reveal the depth of wickedness that lies in Christianity and America and in every single system that lies in America. You know, in these past 26 years, I have been living on the other side of how I grew up. No longer live in a rural, white, small town of southern Minnesota, 4,500 people, who I actually went back to this past weekend for a few days. And now I'm living in an inner city all-black community, which they're not black, they're not African American, they are now what I know as to be the true Hebrews. And so in this change of place where the Most High Yah has caused me to live, I have seen the depth of wickedness that lies, like I said, in every area or every system and subsystem of America. I've been in the education system for 20 some years, and I've seen prejudice and white supremacy destroy the lives of our black brothers and sisters and people of color. I have seen for 26 years the destruction of the so-called correctional facility, which that system has been set up to destroy, oppress, enslave in a modern way our black brothers and sisters and people of color. I've seen it in the business realm. I've seen it in your physical communities, how my black community that I live in is in no way, shape, or form valued like a white community that I priorly lived in. And so I'm now going to use my life to be a mouthpiece to speak out the wickedness of white Christian evangelicalism, whether they want to hear it or not. Because like I told somebody this weekend, I'm not going to have a sense of guilt on my hands and in my heart when the justice of the Most High true God is poured out upon Christianity and white evangelicalism in America in the few days to come. I'm not going to live with guilt that I kept my mouth silent because you may not like me or the message of truth I'm bringing to you. That I might be saddened to some degree. And when I say saddened to some degree, when I share what I want to share today, you'll understand why it's to some degree. When the judgment comes, I might be saddened, but I will not feel guilty. Because I know over all these years, even before I knew that our black brothers and sisters or African Americans were the true chosen people of God, I still called out the injustices upon our black family members. And for 20 some years, you have told me to shut up. You have disowned me. You have destroyed my reputation with lies. But my passion is to serve the Most High Yah, and then to do as the Bible says, to protect, speak out for, and cleave to His precious chosen children. A young man that I recently have, well, for 5-6 years I should say, that's not recently, been kind of mentoring and walking alongside, had stepped out of a father and a grandfather and uncles and even an older brother that were still living and dabbling in the lifestyle on the streets. Street drugs, if I can put it that way. But this young man, Chris, decided some years ago, just prior to me meeting him, that he wanted out. He didn't want to go that way because he saw the reality of that lifestyle and where it leads an individual that's a street pharmacist, if I can say it. And so he was working a full-time job. He has his high school diploma. I see leadership in him because every place he went to work, he was promoted. He caught the eye of the employer, of the supervisors, of his boss, and was promoted. Well, he 3.5 years ago, got off of work and went to be with some friends. And in the process, at times, there is also that need to walk away from some of the friends that you had that may entangle you in a negative lifestyle. And so Chris was really working on that. He had said no to many of those that he knew were doing things they shouldn't do. Well, these other friends came and picked him up, and they went back to the house or something, and then they said, hey, let's go. They wanted to go shopping, so Chris said, I'll go along. On the way to the mall, Chris fell asleep. I guess they got out of the car. They went into the mall. They went into a store, and they robbed this store in a mall, which wasn't a wise choice at all, but they did what they did. And then they came out of that store. In the meantime, Chris woke, went into the mall looking for them, and prior to them exiting, he saw them, caught up with them, and then simply walked with them out of the mall into the car. And as they drove away, 5-10 minutes down, they were pulled over. They were then arrested. And later, they were all charged with robbery, burglary, walking into a store and robbing it of some clothing. And so in those next days, the videos, the witnesses identified two men. The videos of that store, of them going in and out, were two men. Walking in the mall after it, it was two men, until this one young man, Chris, before they exited the mall, caught up with them and they walked out. These two young men were identified by the sales clerks. They were identified in the videos. They were identified by other witnesses in the store. They were identified, and Chris, this young man, was never identified. In fact, it was the opposite. They all said there was only two young men that came in to do what they did and rob. And these two young men also said that Chris, who was with them, had no idea he was along for the ride and actually fell asleep in the car while they did the crime. And for the next 2.5 years, they put Chris on house arrest. And yet, or also during those years, they did everything in their power to get him off house arrest, to put him in jail 24/7. They told him that if he didn't go and get a job, that they were going to lock him up. So Chris came over and he let his probation officer know that he was going to be with me. I also called and left a message and said that Chris would be with me and we would be driving around in my neighborhood to find places of that we're looking to hire, and we did that. And then the next day they chastised him and then brought him into court in front of the judge to tell him that they were going to put him back in jail full time because he was and broke house arrest. But then because of our messages, the judge then decided, nope, I'll let you go back. And finally, Chris got a job. And then even after the job, they brought him back to court to have him locked up full time because they insisted that the job Chris got wasn't the job he was holding before he got into trouble, and said that he should be locked up because he did not obtain his original place of employment. And the whole time he's going to court and they're waving in front of him that he better take 4 years of prison on a plea bargain, or they were going to lock him up for 14 years, which was actually 6 more years than they gave the two guys that obviously, without a shadow of a doubt, were caught doing the crime. Continue to tell Chris, they're going to wear you down, they're going to wear you down, but please, Chris, don't let them get you to sign. They then mandated him to, besides working, to now go to a drug rehab program, although Chris never had drugs in his system every time they did a drop, because they were hoping he would have some sort of drug in his system so that if it wasn't the job or if it wasn't the stringent curfew would cause him, give the state's attorney an excuse to lock him up. He went to every single one of those meetings. He showed up and kept his place of employment. He let them know every time he was going to leave the home to work or to go do his drugs, to his drug class. And when he fulfilled the drug class, they then determined that he had an anger issue and mandated that he had to go to this anger management class. And after he fulfilled that, and everything else he said to do, after 2.5 years, they found him guilty because he signed a form. And they said, we will not give you prison time, but we will give you now 3 years of probation. If that stuff makes you angry, the part that hit me is when I saw him now just the other day, after he finally plea bargained, and he knew I wouldn't be mad because I wasn't walking in his shoes, but I would be incredibly sad because I know the system will never admit to their lies, but will do everything in their power to cover their lies and make the victim of white evangelical, white America's evilness the problem. And so he came over to tell me what he finally had settled for. And I said, Chris, I'm not upset. And he said, but Brother Dana, they didn't even give me prison time. And that's when I snapped. Because this is the depth of wickedness that lies within this country, white America. And the depth of wickedness that the Most High true God is going to hold you and judge you because you're accountable. You are responsible for it. That he smiled and said, but Brother Dana, they didn't even give me prison time. When the reality is, you never did nothing wrong to even deserve to be locked up or put on probation or to go through all these hoops and loops and obstacle course, waiting for them any second of the game to find you guilty, changing the rules along the way. What a depth of wickedness that lies in you, white America. That you will victimize our black brothers and sisters to such a degree that they will rejoice that their innocence only gives them probation and a Class X felony on their record instead of prison time. And yet they were completely innocent. And you, system, white evangelicalism, white America, is the brood of vipers, the snakes that Jesus Christ himself called out when he looked at the Pharisees. Michael Sanders is another individual that's been locked up for 26 years, and currently right now we're trying to raise some money for him to have a clemency, to get him out after 26 years because he's facing life plus 65 years for 2 crimes he in no way, shape, or form committed or were even involved with or even were aware of. And so I put on GoFundMe. And some of you have donated, and then some of you have tried to donate and said, Dana, we can't get through. And so finally now I understand why, because GoFundMe said that raising money the way that I am or for the purpose that I am is not allowed, and they cut down, removed. But yet, a white young man from here in Illinois can cross to the Wisconsin border and deliberately shoot down and kill 2 people. And there's GoFundMe fundraisers out there raising almost $500,000 for him. The depth of wickedness that lies in white evangelical Christianity and in the hearts of those of you who are part of that religious cult. So I always like to go and do research to find out what Christianity has taught about these various subjects that I'm bringing out in my videos. And today it's the wickedness that lies within the injustice of white evangelical Christians and the religion of Christianity, which actually serves the God of white superiority. Thus is why we have created the lie that the Jews that we see today that are white-skinned like me are actually the true chosen people of God, because that solidifies white supremacy is the dominant or the God-blessed race to control America and the world. So Christianity teaches this about justice. Certainly justice and love are united in God. In the world as God intended and created it to be, justice and love were meant to be completely harmonious. It means they are always together, interdependent and mutually reinforcing. Meaning you can't have justice without love. And you can't say you love and yet do not have justice. In God's good creation, justice is meant to spring from love for God and for people, and to seek peace or shalom for all people. White evangelical Christianity, where is your love and justice for our black brothers and sisters? How do you say you love God and yet you live a life that is so unjust and wickedly unjust and evil towards our black brothers and sisters? That an innocent black man will be shot down. See, innocent means we don't find him guilty because of past crimes. He's innocent until proven guilty. But when he's shot, you already call him a guilty man. Just like Chris. But your wickedness is so deep, you will not even admit to your mistakes. And yet will twist the system to the point of putting an innocent man in jail just to hide your injustice and lies and hatred towards our black brothers and sisters. So what does the Bible say, white evangelicals? Learn to do good, seek justice, correct oppression. Correct oppression. Bring justice to the fatherless and please the widow's cause. Isaiah 1:17. He has told you, O man, what is good, and what does the Lord require of you? But to do justice, and to love kindness, and to walk humbly with your God. Micah 6:8. The rock, his work is perfect, for all his ways are just. A God of faithfulness and without iniquity. Just and upright is he. Deuteronomy chapter 32:4. And Psalm 89:14 says, righteousness and justice are the foundation of his throne. Steadfast love and faithfulness go before you. So now I understand why white evangelicalism and Christianity has pushed all of their attention on pro-life and homosexuality. Because see, if you root those two things into the people that you have fooled, you can then fool them that God don't care about justice. Or the justice he cares about is the life of this unborn baby. You hide from your true sin, the sin of injustice. But woe, see, now I know many of evangelicals want to concentrate on the New Testament and not see that God or how God dealt with his own children in the Old Testament. Because see, let's just make this clear right now. The Bible was written for our black brothers and sisters. It was not written for us Gentiles, us strangers, or us aliens. The Bible was written for our Hebrew brothers and sisters who are people of black skin. Because Jesus Christ, Yahshua HaMashiach himself, was a man of black skin and woolish hair. Period. He came not for us who call themselves Gentiles or strangers or aliens. He came only for his own people. But his invitation was only open to us Gentiles, us strangers or aliens, when his people rejected him. And now, because of their disobedience in Deuteronomy chapter 28, only now has a season been open for us Gentiles, us aliens and us strangers to enter in. But if you think that this Bible was created for you according to Christianity, you've been fooled. Christianity is the religion that has made white superiority and a God that ordained it. No different than the God of Baal. So the New Testament says this, but woe to you, Pharisees, woe to you, white evangelical Americans, and woe to you, white America, for your tithe mint and rue and every herb, and neglect justice and the love of God. For you tithe mint and rue and every herb, and yet Jesus said you neglect justice and there the love of God. These you ought to done without neglecting the others. Luke chapter 11 verse 42. These you ought to done So pray, fast, lay your offerings in your Christian churches. But your problem is you've neglected justice. And you do not love God, but you are people that have hearts that are filled with wickedness and evilness towards our black brothers and sisters and people of color and anybody that will not bow down and worship your religion of white superiority. So what is justice in a nutshell? According to the Bible, in Christian theology, it was said that God brought Jesus Christ to bring justice. And justice means that God is coming to set things right. He sent Jesus Christ, according to Christianity, to set things right. Well, let me say this to you now, white evangelicals. God is coming now to set things right of all the wrongs and all the wickedness and all the evil that we have done to our black brothers and sisters. It's time now that the justice that you have demanded for everybody else now come back on you. So the plagues, the economy crashing down, the destruction of America that is about to happen is in due result because you have neglected justice and the love of God. So to those of you who have an ear to hear, I pray that you will hear. And to those that want to reject the truth of the word of the Most High Yah God, may He have mercy on your soul.